Hitting the button, doing a thing. That's how you get the
Yeah.
chicken wing. Hello, everybody in streaming world. We are the Podguyz Podcast, bringing it to you every Monday as we do. 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. I am Tony Kaz.
Kevin Neary here.
Of course, we have the ever-loving Picasso, the doer of all things, Proby, the innovator of everything levitating, the innie of the Audi, Le Sparke.
And Sparky says hi. If you were to guess, just by watching the show, which one of us was an alien? Sparky takes the cake.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah. And be like,
Yeah,
oh, the one man that doesn't talk but draws his feelings.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, if you're watching and you're gonna comment below, which three of us would technically be the alien inconspicuously? Comment below. You know, we would love to hear from everybody that watches the show. You know, the three to five, you know, people that actually pay attention who want to comment below. That'd be great.
So, Tony, have you ever seen a UFO?
I've never seen a UFO. I've seen many of meteorites, comets, and strange happenings.
Now, the thing is, it is now very easy to dismiss UFOs all around because everyone's going to look at their phone and they're going to say, oh, no, that was probably AI generated. All right. There's no way that happened. It was probably AI. It feels like, or as soon as we do a perp walk with one of the aliens, people are going to be like, why don't you show the Epstein files? You know, they'll start saying that. And everyone's be like, yo, man, we got a live alien here. You know?
Yeah.
Can we talk about him? Was he on the island? Yes. Yeah, he was on the island. Is everyone happy? This is
Can you report in your alien dialect exactly what happened to you while you were on the island?
Watch that be the reason why they haven't released any of the files. They're like, whoa, there's a lot of alien shit here.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Because
that'd actually be awesome.
Because it is an island. Little St. James is an island where the magnetic forces really there. The Bermuda Triangle. If you've ever followed up with how haywire the by the way, Spirit Airlines flew over the Bermuda Triangle and the triangle said hard pass.
Yeah, we're gonna cancel you. Unfortunately, they're gone now.
Bermuda Triangle was like a picky rapist in the alleyway. Did not want any of that Spirit Airline ass. You know, they were like, no thanks. Completely unshuttered. There are a couple of theories I have on the whole idea. Sparky has drawn a triangle, and this is probably the first triangle he's drawn without me holding it up, calling it a pyramid scheme. So thank you for that, Sparky. Setting some new rules right here.
That's true.
So I have some.
By the way, that's an actual pyramid scheme right there.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, the Bermuda Triangle.
So there are some very convincing arguments now saying that now scientists are leaving, they're getting killed off or whatever, or are they being abducted and taken into the future? We're not really sure, but the new theory out there is that the aliens are actually just us from the future and they are time traveling. And now the first ever spotted Roswell idea was after we had already done the whole nuclear Hiroshima idea, you know, bombing of Japan. That was the first one. So after that, there was seen to be a Roswell, you know, like incident or whatever the hell. And that would if you were a time traveler and you were to warn civilization about something, right? Like nuclear power makes a great free heating source for people, makes great free energy for people, all that nice free idea, Tony, right? Because it takes very little actual labor and manpower after the fact to build. Okay.
That's
just
true.
throwing it out there, data centers. Anyways, the idea is you are a time traveler. Would you go back and warn people, hey, that's not supposed to be used for killing each other, guys? Okay, like you're all gonna end up looking like us. You're all gonna look like some goofy fucking egg-shaped motherfuckers, that are roaming around with no eyes and stuff. Basically, that would be the plan, right? You don't aliens, if you've seen the depiction of them, they got the big eyes, they got the big head thing going on, Tony. I think if they are humans from the future, I think that the main thing they're trying to do is interfere a little bit so that way they can look a little bit less like monsters every time. Okay. Like if they're doing it right, they're looking more and more human every time. But if they're not doing it right, and they're not, because look at us. Look at us go. Look at how
it's true.
The smallest thing that they could be interfering on, Tony. Everyone's like, wait a second. Wasn't Sinbad the genie, not Shaquille O'Neal? And they're like, it doesn't fucking matter. What we did, though. No. Hold on. Berenstein Bears or Berenstein Bears? Like, oh my God. What the fuck, humans? No, that doesn't matter. I think it does matter. I think we have to just argue online. Oh no, how do we stop this? Maybe we'll talk to Elon Musk, have him buy Twitter and figure it out. Ooh. Are you sure he's not going to go crazy with power? No, but we have no other option. There's nobody else with the money, or there's just no one else with that kind of money. We'll have him buy Twitter and see if he can shake all the nonsense out there. And oh my God, we have Tony was the alien the whole time. I knew it.
I knew it.
I knew that couldn't have been a real human body. As soon as I looked at you the first time, I said, "There's a little alien working that fucking suit." Oh shit, never mind. I never said any of that. Those were filters the whole time. Oh God, they were filters. Tony's playing with the filters for our viewing audience. For our non-viewing audience, you see nothing, you hear nothing because you're probably not there, and that's perfectly fine. What is going on, Tony? So
I was trying to get rid of the filter.
So, Tony.
Yes.
Is that a plausible theory because I'm just thinking about how people normally only try to change, only get super smart because they want to get back to I'll give you an example. Plastic surgery, right?
Sure.
Plastic surgery has come further than any cancer treatment. Okay, we've learned how to make more natural looking, bigger tits than we have with the parasitic mutation of meiosis, mitosis that we all know of as a cancer and tumors, right?
Sure.
On the books. Okay.
So mastosis.
We are at heart. We are at the heart of the matter. We are a very vapid, vain type of people to begin with. That I think that if we did discover time travel, we would say, okay, what do we do? Well, maybe we go back to when we looked fucking normal. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And try to tell them in so many words not to do X, Y, and Z. Or
see, I like the rabbit hole that you're going down.
That's all right. It's a good rabbit hole.
I like it. It is a rabbit hole. Now, to speak of rabbit holes, I don't know if you've seen, but you've certainly said about it. The missing dead scientist with connections to government research.
Yeah.
Is really extraordinary, to be honest. So you have 10 scientists that have died or disappeared mysteriously, all with links to the nation's nuclear programs, raising questions about possible connections.
Yeah, so if you're the idea is that anti-gravity can't be created through the research of like a nuclear isotope or anything like that. But if you go down that mathematical hole and dismiss string theory completely, right, as a non and treat time as a infinite but linear object, right? That bunch of scientists have gotten together, have been really disclosing a lot publicly of
a lot of information.
Yeah, of who these
lot of information
of who these entities are.
Crowdsourcing and making things very visible to the public.
Yeah. So they're and the public at this point, they're not really into it. You know, we're being dragged into a lot of different areas of what we used to know to be the truth and what was comfortable for the truth. Gas prices going up to $4 will have somebody distracted, but I think the main focus is if we could just tell people that Jeffrey Epstein was an alien, right? Then they'd be,
that might be a thing. Yeah,
they would lean in a little bit. But right now, everyone is trying to crack that fucking egg, right? And I'm gonna bet a lot of people would be disappointed if they found out that Jeffrey Epstein had to have been the dumbest person to get caught by people he's paying off. How fucking stupid do you have to be? How sloppy? There are a million Jeffrey Epsteins out there, okay? Doing all of that crazy shit.
All kind of shiesty, shady shit.
You'll never hear about. So everyone wants to hear about the worst driver, Roswell alien, and they want to hear about they want to hear about the dumbest trafficker of people, Jeffrey Epstein. Well, open up the files and tell everybody. Like just let everybody know. We had Mr. Autopen president, mask on his face, according to the Epstein files. And the Autopen makes a lot of sense right now, where you're like, hey, Joe, not only do we feel like you're wearing a mask, but your signature is really different. Listen, what? You want to go push up for push up? And then he fucking stares off fake, and you're like, oh, man. I don't know.
Now, our current sitting president has stated in a White House meeting that he has reviewed the cases of the 10 missing scientists that have died or disappeared.
He also made a ChatGPT of him walking with aliens.
Oh yeah. But he expects to know more in a week and a half, is what he said. So that's kind of weird that the president is acknowledging that there are scientists that are missing, and all kind of crossing in the fact that they have been not only in a nuclear program, but believe it or not, they're actually tied into plasma programs as well. Now that's going to be some big technology, even coming forward with CERN, dark technology, dark matter, and the quarks, and the freaking that new computer technology that they have going on as well.
Okay, so with microchip technology being where it's at, right? And 100 years ago, 1926, we were just figuring out how to get a car to go 40 miles an hour, right? I'll put it also this way. This version of human had just been figuring out how to get a car to go up to 40 miles an hour at that point in time, okay? Mm-hmm. This version of human had to have been put in place because the last version of human had found itself to be a little too threatening, okay? to the ultimate of creators, which if we're able to do gene splicing, and if we're able to have surrogate mothers out there and all that nice stuff, if we can do it, there's gotta be someone else that can do it a lot more advanced. Put that fucking cooker, even if it's twice as good, right? Even if humans made a fucking Dalmatian, that doesn't just come out of anywhere, all right? They have scientists. We have scientists here on Earth, Tony, that know exactly how to do X, Y, and Z, and then they try not to travel down that road. But we were introduced to that road a little bit called.
Well, there's a secret word that's out in the medical terms called CRISPR.
The CRISPRs, but now they have some fresh human subjects with the stem cell research. Is what I was trying to get to. Stem cell research.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Stem cell now, since the introduction of human entities into whatever 95% of people are getting them vaccines at birth with nanoparticle aluminum. Now, nanoparticle aluminum acts differently to different frequencies as well, right? It can also stay in your system forever along with microplastics. You blend both those two together, pop a radio frequency on top of what your basic electrolyte heartbeat is doing anyways. You have a bunch of people that are ready for mind control at the drop of a hat. This is why the people you hear, right, where one person is saying one thing and the other person is saying the same exact thing, but both of them can only agree that they disagree. And it doesn't make any sense at all. You know, like, I'll give you a great example. Protestant and Catholic, right? Fucking you guys are saying the same thing all the time. You might have 0.05% of difference. You might have had a the instead of a the. You know, that's the difference right there. You might have protested where one disagreed. Well, what the fuck? You guys are saying the same thing, and somehow you call it a disagreement. Meanwhile, churches in Nevada, churches in Italy, these were all designed in such a way where if you hit a certain frequency, it could, the tippity top of it, when the mercury of the top of these churches were not just going constantly, it would go towards the heavens, and they put the church in such a mathematical way that way people could hear the hymns and the frequencies and all that nice stuff. Now, that frequency applied to humans of yesteryear, they had mercury everywhere. So no need for injectable mercury, injectable nanoparticle aluminum, no need to inject it. Then when they decided that mercury to that degree was just awful, right? Can't have that. They didn't decide that. What they decided was mercury was not a profitable thing. Okay, so mercury they couldn't resell to people as a free energy source.
This is going to be really, really cool, right? If you're watching right now, grab your arm deodorant right now. If you happen to take a look at what the main ingredient, and it may be the only ingredient that they'll ever have in there, is what particular product, Kevin?
So now I have what you call aluminum-free Old Spice deodorant, okay? But a lot of deodorant has aluminum base to it, and that is a preservative. It's also an irritant for skin. That way, not only will you not smell, but the bacteria will be killed off of the skin, but it will create a compound odor after the fact, and then you'll eventually move on to an antiperspirant deodorant, which is also just a bunch of scented chemical waste on top of aluminum byproducts and shit like that. But it is not nanoparticled aluminum. Now, the reason that our aluminum works on the sweat so very well is because it has something to magnify itself to, which is the nanoparticled aluminum right there. So it can attach itself to what we already have running in our bloodstreams if you have been vaccinated from birth. If you have not been vaccinated, well, guess what? There's really few escape from it. you have small amounts of nano biparticle aluminum in some baby formula. And if your mother was vaccinated, but if your mother was vaccinated and she breastfed you, you have a chance. There's like a 30% chance to ingest that the milk's byproduct from the breast milk is also a part of, ring that fucking bell when you hear it, nano biparticle aluminum, right? This is making sure that you are able to be brainwashed. You are able to be led through frequency. And now, Tony, we have something that's our best friend all the time. And I'll hold them up right here so you can lift up your eyes and see the cell phone, right? You got your cell phone right there. And if you've heard this word before, let me know, because the nano byproduct aluminum is not just inside of your phone, but they also have cobalt in your phone. Now, cobalt, when mixed with nano byproduct aluminum, and when you heat up a electric battery, which is basically what humans tend to be, and I'm talking heartbeat to sweat to electrolytes. When you add electrolyte kind of energy with biparticle nano aluminum and throw in some fucking cobalt, you have a type of it kind of looks like moldable sand, kinetic sand, right? It kind of looks like that. Only off of frequency has been tested, right? Off of frequency, you can make that fucking thing do whatever you want, just off of frequency alone. And guess what the funnest part about this frequency is, Tony? It can't be heard. It cannot be heard by the human ears.
No way.
It is all just pulsating. And on top of it all, just throwing it out there, when they're over there painting the skies, what do you call that, Tony? Come on now, you know the name of it. Terraforming, right?
Terraforming.
They're throwing the aluminum in the air, too. You have areas of people's... Now, in Pennsylvania, you do have a lower life expectancy than most. In any coal region, you have a lower life expectancy and a higher cancer rate because of the microscopic coal dust that we all have experienced. God knows what coal really needs to be used for. I don't know. But if it causes this much harm to humans, it's probably not to heat your fucking house. We're probably using it all wrong, you know? Like years from now... If we find out like 200 years from now, the time travelers are like, all right, guys, show me one of those pieces of coal. And we're like, all right, I'll get it from my heater. Exactly. Give me the coal real quick. Okay, great. And this, by the way, is not to heat your homes. Okay, this is not to heat your homes. Oh, what is it for? Nothing. It's a fucking rock. Stop doing that. Stop killing yourselves.
So I wanted to get into a couple names of these scientists and tell you what they happen to have did, or where they were in particular. But Sparky, you do have something on the big board, right? No? You're done? Okay. All right, so Stephen Garcia, a 48-year-old government contractor, was left seen leaving his home in Albuquerque, New Mexico, August 28, 2025. He was on foot carrying a handgun, with police report warning that he may have been a danger to himself. He worked as a property custodian at the Kansas City National Security Campus, which manufactures non-nuclear components for nuclear weapons. Garcia had top clearance, security clearance at the facility, which would allow him wide access. Another one, Frank Maywald, researcher with NASA's jet propulsion, died July 4, 2024 at 61 in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. According to his obituary, he specialized in space research. He managed the development of the SBG VSWIR instrument and had previously overseen the successful delivery of 2 instruments for the AMRC program.
What does that instrument do? What does that acronym mean? That's a long lettered acronym right there.
The AMRC is the
Yeah.
Advanced Microwave Radiometer.
Okay. All right. Advanced microwave radiometer. Okay.
Now, the other one is the SBG.
Do you believe, Tony, that these
VSWI.
scientists are being killed, kidnapped, or both, or something like that? And I'll throw it out there because we're going to get in the comments. Write down in the comments if you think it is Israel or the Clintons, because that seems to be the two groups right now that have unfortunate accidents if you were once their friend or whatever.
Now, the SBG VW or VSWIR instrument is a hyperspectral imaging spectrometer designed for NASA's Earth System Observatory. It maps global Earth ecosystems, surface mineralogy,
Yep.
and snow ice albedo by capturing continuous spectral data from 380 to 2500 nanometers with a 30-meter spatial resolution. So it does spectral analysis of land, minerals, and items hidden deep within the soil.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
So Tony, there are the grays, the gray aliens that people are always talking about constantly, right? And they don't move their mouth, but they do telepathy talk. Okay, that's what the supposed thing is. Yeah. So these scientists, by disappearing, the technology has already been discovered by them. Okay. So once the technology has been made, the time travelers already know when that technology was made. So then they get to go back and kill them. I feel like it might not be the government. I think that it might be the time traveling aliens or us along with it going back and they kill them because they are of no more use. Okay. So to the time travelers. This way, they still have the ability to time travel because the technology has been suitable for them. But it would change if their future might change for the worse, and I mean they would look more monster-like, right? If I'm sure that they've dealt with those hypotheticals, being that they have the time travel availability. This is another theory is saying that they are already living underwater or they live in caves deep down below. There have been several instances where people have gone down towards parts of the Grand Canyon that are banned. How do you ban parts of a Grand Canyon? How do you ban certain places that we can and cannot go? We are not allowed to see what is past the ice wall of Antarctica, but the flat earthers are pretty sure it's nothing to worry about. It's nothing that so if we're shown a globe, right? But maybe the earth is actually bigger. And they blacked out like with a marker, what they did with the Epstein files. They blacked out those parts of it.
I want to take you down a little road of something really cool that happened. I don't know. I think it was last year. I think it was like right at the end of last year. Do you remember when people found that the tidal markers down by southern Africa, they found that the tidal markers were going up and down and up and down and then really, really high and then subsiding into nothing.
Yep.
But they were following the tidal markers, creating this huge, like massive circular type object.
Yeah.
that was following up the coast of Africa somehow, making these particular tidal markers raise up to tsunami levels.
Yep.
I find that a little bit conspicuous. And not everybody was like, oh, it wasn't a big deal to people. Like, it wasn't something they were just like, oh, you know what, that happens. It could happen, right?
Well, that kind of falls back into, remember we were talking before about how just a little bit too perfect things seem to be, right? We get a blue sky, we get grass, we can grow stuff here, right? We're not too close to the sun, but we're not too far away from the sun either, right? We're at that Goldilocks just
We're
right.
in a Goldilocks zone.
We also have a moon that doesn't rotate at all, ever. Every other moon supposedly does. If we're to believe that we are on a ball-shaped planet, which is fine, believe I'm fine with it, or a flat Earth or whatever. I'm not leaning one way too hard or the other way too hard. But let's go with ball. Let's go with globe. Okay, let's go with that idea. We are in a forever scenario of perfect positioning where we don't wake up every day and it's negative 5,000 degrees out, or it's 80 million degrees Fahrenheit. We're not burning to a crisp. So then
we don't have acid rain. We don't have diamond rain showers. We don't have sulfuric anomalies that are wiping people out across the globe.
Correct. We don't have an environment that's always trying to kill us, right?
Correct.
Okay. So being that we don't have that, which means we have just the opposite. We have as close to a utopia as possible. And when I say as close to, it's almost as if we did have a utopia, Matrix, we wouldn't accept the programming for it because therein lies the curiosity of humans. We're always we're curious in a good way. Like, why does this work this way? Why does that animal have a heart here? And why does that animal have 5 hearts? Why does this happen? Why does that happen? We're 5,000, 10,000 years into curiosity and knowing that there has to be something more. So we start making up gods that look like ourselves and shit, because why not, right? It's a very human thing to do. When in reality, we could all just be one consciousness, and that one consciousness just be spread out among all the people to the point where the curiosity makes it even more creative of a time-traveling alien thing happening to the storyline. Because if it's all just storyline based for one conscious person entity type thing, and we're all just a part of their fucked up video game, and we don't know exactly how long time actually is. But humans did get curious one day. How long did that sun go up? How long did the sun go down? We started shifting little fucking gears to make clocks and stuff like that, right? So time
is a man-made construct.
We were made very, very aware that we could do a whole bunch of shit, right? We could do a whole bunch of shit. And by the time you got to anything else, you also had another fun distraction. Like, oh, why does he have more money? What, emotionally, we all got kind of wrapped up in our own shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the alien thing could just be another little point and a click added on to the idea. And Sparky with the big board right there. Honey, the pizza is here in 1 light year or less. Look at that, Domino's. So that's simulation theory, though. So simulation theory is kind of like it's
simulation theory is a little ludicrous to kind of accept as a as a reality in general.
I mean, the holographic universe and the whole idea right there behind it, what we are interpreting through our brains to our eyes and all that nice stuff. It's all you take nerve endings away from people and we ain't nothing, man. That's our wiring right there. If you want to call it wiring, that is our wiring to feel stuff to the brain and all that nice stuff. So getting back to the aliens, are they even real? Are we digging too deep? Are aliens afraid of polar bears? Because there's a reason we're keeping those polar bears there, and it doesn't make any fucking sense why they can't come live up here. Oh, but it does, Tony. I did a little bit of research, right?
There are naysayers, Kevin.
What do you mean?
There are naysayers. Well, not to say naysayers.
Okay.
But there are people who have come forward.
Yeah.
In order to say aliens exist.
Yeah.
One such person in general is Dr. Hal Puthoff. Hal Puthoff. Now, he is a former advanced aerospace weapon systems application programmer and CI-funded researcher. He made the claim alongside Age of Disclosure director Dan Farrow on Stephen Bartlett's The Diary of a CEO podcast on Thursday. And people who have been involved in recoveries have said that there are at least 4, that's right, 1, 2, 3, 4 separate types of aliens.
A little background on Mr. Puthoff. He was born in Chicago, Illinois. He received a BA and an MSc in electrical engineering from University of Florida. In 1967, Puthoff earned a PhD in electrical engineering from Stanford University with a thesis, The Stimulated Raman Effect and Its Application as a Tunable Laser. Puthoff then worked, now I know what you're thinking. What the fuck is the stimulated random spectroscopy, also referred to as stimulated random scattering? It's a form of spectroscopy employed to physics, chemistry, biology, and other fields. The basic mechanism resembles that of spontaneous Raman spectroscopy, a pump photon of the angular frequency, which is scattered by a molecule, has some small probability of inducing some vibrational or rotational transition as opposed to inducing a simple Rayleigh transition. This makes the molecule emit a photon at a shifted frequency. However, SRS, as opposed to spontaneous Raman spectroscopy, is a third-order nonlinear phenomenon involving a second photon, the Stokes photon of angular frequency, which simulates a specific transition. When the difference in frequency become both photons resembles that of specific vibration or rotational transition, the occurrence of this transition is resonantly enhanced. The SRS, the signal, is equivalent to changes in the intensity of the pump and Stokes beam. The signals are typically rather low, of the order of a part in 10.5, thus calling the modulation transfer techniques. One beam is modulated in amplitude, and the singular is detected on the other beam via a lock-in amplifier. Employing a pump laser beam of a constant frequency and a Stokes laser beam of a scanned frequency, or vice versa, allows for unraveling the molecule's spectral fingerprint. This specular fingerprint differs from those obtained by other methods such as Rayleigh scattering, as the Raman transitions confer exclusive rules that those apply to Rayleigh transitions. Now, Tony, I can read those words and not know what the fuck I am talking about. I know none of that.
I think a lot of it just has to do with spectrometers, as far as even these missing.
So this is a little bit of it, right? So he took that picture right there. is representation of how electronics can know what you look like. Okay. Remember about 2 years ago, I was kind of in between of saying, is electricity a living thing? And as crazy as it sounds, when his theory is applied to it does know what you look like. Okay.
Now this is the same thing as far as spectrometers go, as far as shooting it into the ground.
Yep.
One particular photon at a time, and then getting a response back from that photon and how it changes.
Yeah. And the
everybody's looking for rare earth minerals.
Mm-hmm.
So the big thing is this particular gentleman, who is also interlaced into alien beings of some sort, is also a spectrometer analysis person.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these particular 10, and actually I think it's up to 12 now.
It's 12, up to
12,
yeah.
12 scientists that have gone missing or deceased from this world have in some way done spectrometer technology or been around spectrometer technology.
Now, I'm just
which is the key as far as interlocking everybody together.
Here's a quick thought. You know how when we pollute, or what we do with our garbage at a landfill, we bury it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We bury it, and so what if there is a whole civilization underground, right? But on the flip side of it, like they get a sun, they get everything, they get, it's like the same thing as Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these precious metals that we're finding is just their garbage, and we're digging, and they want us to stop digging.
See, that'd be an interesting.
And here's the thing: this fucking technology these guys are on is finding where the precious metals are, right? But they have to dig so far down. There's that hole in Russia. Remember the big hole that they couldn't get more than 7 miles down on, right? And some fucked up shit was going on too.
Sure.
So the idea is, what if there are people, but it's like a flip and reverse. Only thing is that they are also landfilling all of their junk metals that for some odd reason we're using as cell phone stuff or whatever the hell. That's a possibility, because if you have superior weapons and you're like, hey, these fuckers, they know where we're at because of X, Y, and Z, and they found this light pattern stuff that kind of exposes where we are. So could you kill them? And
do you feel,
Tony? There's a knock.
This is going to be a separate.
Somebody's watching, because there's a knock at the door right now. I feel like I shouldn't answer it because it might be the Men in Black.
Could be.
Yeah, so I probably shouldn't answer. I'll wait for them to kick down the door. Continue.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like this spectrometer technology could technically find element 115 deep within the crust of the Earth, which has been a more reverent type of element that they have been looking for.
The Bob Lazar element 115. There has been people that said, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to the periodic table. And if your periodic table was taught wrong and you have learned it, but if it was taught wrong, then you were just told, hey, man, I could teach you how to make a cake too. And it's going to look and taste like a cake. But you're going to be like, hey, why doesn't my cake ever go bad? Why does my cake stay better longer than why is my cake causing cancer? I just taught you how to make a tasty cake. I didn't teach you how to make a fucking actual cake. We got preservatives in that. What I'm saying is the element 115 is supposedly the one metal that is used for anti-gravity technology, where you would then have the spaceship not travel through space, but space travel through the spaceship and vice versa, where you would then use your minds to travel along with the now the often theorized pineal gland would be utilized with element 115, other metals as well. And if that's kind of where we're going, because remember, Tony, the nanoparticle aluminum floating throughout our skin, and along with a little bits and pieces of mercury and all that nice stuff, and with our heartbeats creating electrolytes and our blood pressure flowing throughout ourselves and all that nice crap, right? If you can create a brain dead, low blood pressure type of person that also is autistic as hell, right? Fast forward that fucking timeline down, and they're just sitting there the fuck like that as a type of, not space traveler, let's call it slave, because that's what it comes down to, man. Somebody needs our organs, and somebody is going to help. Somebody is going to trick our curiosity. Okay. It happens every time. When Noah built an ark, right? Think of it like this. Noah built an ark. Okay. He built an ark and he's like, what do I do now? And God said, sit on the boat, wait for a little bit, right?
Hang out. We'll see what happens.
So he sits on the boat and waits a little bit with his wife and maybe kids or whatever, right?
Yep. Whole family.
Whole family's there. One family, Tony.
Just one family.
One. Everyone else dies? What the fuck is going? What does he have to do? Half a fuck a half horse, right? So the trick was like, hey, you want to see me make this guy fuck a horse? Like, no, don't do it, man. Don't do it. You know, the curiosity is a trick every time. They said, watch what we can make these humans do. And we keep piecing it together to the point where we manipulate willingly our own DNA.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily manipulating the DNA, but manipulating the story and the timeline.
We manipulate
whatever we wanted it to be.
Okay. We destroy what we used to be, and we evolve into what these time travelers are trying to tell us to stay away from.
Now, your more famous in your favorite person, by the way, that we have a holiday for, Christopher Columbus, is one of those particular stories that I think has been so abused and changed over time that it can't, like, the real story can't come out because it's not believable that they've already amped the bar here, but he set the bar here.
There had been a consensus that there was another land out there. Okay.
Yeah.
And people, a good group for a while, called it crazy. They said that's insane. We know there's no other land. If now to proclaim the same thing about Antarctica and getting past that ice wall, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, getting back to what I was also just saying, the time traveling aliens that are some of them, the one woman was calling them B-47s or whatever, something 47s, 47,000. Sure. They were called so they're 47,000 years older than us, 47,000 like humans and what they're going to look like in 47,000 years. And then there's the other ones that are 59,000 years older than us or whatever, right?
Sure.
Christopher Columbus to bump into into the Bahamas or whatever the hell just proves that what you're told is all the land sometimes is just not all the land. Okay.
Fair.
What is beyond the Arctic wall, Tony? What could be there?
More ice.
And after that, more ice.
And more ice. I feel like there's a rewriting of time and a rewriting of the concept of something that is so made up by humans. Because time is a concept made by humans.
So is death.
So is death. So you think of it as, life and death is a constant. Life and death. Time is a man-made constraint that we limit ourselves within so that we can have a linear warmth about ourselves. So if I say, hey, there is a time of birth and there's a time of death, average age in birth, let's say 98 years.
Yep. It's an explanation for what I was hitting at earlier of curiosity. People are curious. Well, wait a second. When we die, what happens? And boy, did everybody have a lot of answers that if you pay $9.99, we'll tell you more, sort of thing. The insecurity of humans in this stage of reformation, all right, is there for a reason. I would say that there can't just be one type of species out there, Tony. You've gone down the road of the Anunnaki, have you not?
I have gone down the road of the Anunnaki, but according to the gentleman who said that there are 4 particular species, these species names are actually pretty interesting, believe it or not. They go from, what was it? It was the mantis, the greys, the reptilian, and the Nordic. So the Nordic are very much the Anunnaki. The reptilian are more of a reptile / humanoid character. The greys are more mental telepathy, large eyes, big head. And the mantis are more of an insectual insect.
And if you're thinking that this is all cartoon bullshit, I am here to correct you on it. It is cartoon bullshit.
Could be. But you know what? Let's say that a little bit down the road. Now I know you've seen what's his name? The guy on TikTok who says that he is forecasting an alien symbol. Oh, what the hell's his name?
Yeah, you got the tall whites, which, by the way, in the NBA we just call them European players. The Munpai, they used to be very advanced, but destroyed their civilization and made large parts of their planet uninhabitable during a great war. It threw their culture back centuries, and they now live in something akin to the Middle Ages. The few Manupi who survived the war land, everything, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that doesn't look right. A bunch.
I'm going to bring out a name, and you can tell me if you've seen his videos or if you've ever seen his particular talks. Bashir.
Yep.
So Bashir is a gentleman who, in general, I guess he just channels in alien technology.
So when I see some of these pictures, Tony, of like a horse head, right, or like a snake face on a human body, right, I often think of a kid drawing a picture and just putting that head on something, because it's a form of creativity. It is not always and they always drew what they saw, because that's how people were back there. They never lied. Get the fuck going. They could draw some comic book stuff, dude. Like that's just the way things are. Like people could put a fucking horse, you could put a goat head on, you could put a cat head on something and be like, hey, look at it. Let's draw it on the wall, and they're like, but how did they stay so permanent? It's like, I don't know, man. How is that tattoo still on your wife's leg? Right. And I'm sure they had a method, right? I'm sure that method existed, as I am sure of the giants existing at one time. Because if you only have so much room on the earth, right? And they say, whoa, 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 these humans, they're getting real big. And they're like, yeah, what do we do then? Shrink them down.
Shrink them down.
6 foot. Isn't that kind of ridiculous? What about 5 foot?
I want to talk about Bashir, whatever his name is.
Yep.
His real name, Daryl Anka. He's a channeled extraterrestrial entity who speaks through the medium Daryl Anka.
Yeah, I've seen that guy.
Anka has been facilitating these channeling sessions for over 40 years, presenting Bashar as a humanoid being from a parallel reality of Esasani, who shares insights on physics, manifestation, and human evolution as well. But I feel like the core entities and the core teachings that come from Bashar, such as the formula, Bashar's central philosophy is a simple, actionable method for navigating life. Act on your highest excitement in every moment to the best of your ability without expectation of the outcome.
So I would just take the idea of when this guy does this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not really, I get unskeptical real quick when I think of the whole remote viewing and how much money was put into that by the CIA. So if you could remote view just as a viewer, why wouldn't you have one person here that could act as a reverse to that, where you can have them work as a walkie-talkie? And I'll tell you how you can have them work as a walkie-talkie there, Tony. And it does involve the pineal gland getting forcing yourself to take every bit of nanoparticled aluminum inside of your body, right, one way or another, and forcing it into that one spot where the pineal gland used to go.
Do you feel like the MDNA medication does that for most people, where they see delusions or they have some sort of mental breakdown in general, and now in order to allow aluminum into their pineal gland?
I don't. I wouldn't. I think
you don't think there's a medication that would send people into not to say a state of, a constant.
I think DMT,
constant flux.
I think DMT would help you put a little visit on the idea, right? Because it doesn't last long, that DMT idea. But here's another fun one for you. The laser red light experiment while on DMT. Everyone's reporting that they keep seeing computer code. So what the fuck is that about? Is what I want to know, right? Because if we're just being led by say this guy is totally for real and he's making contact 1000% with an entity that realizes he is the one person that can do this, or throwing it out there, there have been other fakes around there, and I'll let you know who the fake is. The Helen Keller experiment. I'll tell you what she's saying. Oh, will you now? Oh yeah, she knows a lot.
Now, there are a lot of people that actually have talked over time about being not to say an extraterrestrial, I guess, focal point, as far as talking, or just kind of being a medium of some sort of midway in between extraterrestrial and Earth entity.
Yeah.
So they think, I'm going to be a some sort of conditioning rod where somebody's going to talk to me, and then I'll interpret and relay back that information. But there are a lot of people like that. There are a lot of people who, and not to say they're also the same people who are on the same frequency. And that has a lot to do with our conversation today, because frequency is a huge thing in life in general.
When we say frequency, it's not always the frequency we are able to hear. Every now and then, what can't be explained, but maybe it's always there the whole time, but you hear it once in a while, is that ringing in your ear. What's that? Why is that?
Tinnitus. There? What is tinnitus?
Tinnitus is a neurological disorder that scientists can't. So your brain doesn't know that it's hearing a noise. Okay.
That's true.
And why would your brain not know if it's hearing something? Or is there a frequency always there all the time, anyways? But the people who did not get damaged in that part of their brain where the brain meets the ear can't hear it because we're all muffled. But those who can hear it are told by a simple ear doctor, yeah, probably listen to the radio too loud.
I get tinnitus every once in a while, and I hear a not to say a ringing, but it's a like some sort of thing that just comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
It probably stays for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then it goes away by itself. But according to researchers and according to technology experts, it is something that doesn't exist in the real world and is a figment of your imagination, and it cannot be cured.
Uncurable, unexplainable, and by the way, when all else fails, doctors say you made it up.
Yeah.
Now you know how I feel about when doctors can't explain. We can't explain some stuff either, okay?
No, of course not.
So, like, we've had people on the Podguyz Podcast talking about how they are psychic mediums, how they feel like there are interdimensional ghosts. And by the way, I'm going to touch on for just a hot second people that hear voices, schizophrenics, okay? Schizophrenics are written off right off the bat, but they still have doctors and scientists that are very interested in what are those voices saying? What are they telling you to do? What is going on? And they're writing it down. They're documenting everything like that. And a lot of the voices, Tony, sound the same compared from one case to the next, right? And they also have the same demands of the people, okay? So is it a mental disease, or is that person's frequency on a different pitch where maybe it's just maybe a little bit where now they can hear a whole other dimension of people, and those people are always around us to one degree or another, telling X, Y, and Z what to do. Or even on top of that, right? Maybe we have that already, but we just call it the voice inside of our head of our thoughts. Okay. Some people don't even have a inward narration. Okay. Some people don't have that. They just walk around like a bunch of fucking NPCs, roaming around, just doing their goddamn thing.
Yep.
No inward narration, just XYZ. They are low level characters in this possible holographic universe created just for fun. For
what a simulation, right?
For one entity. Now, I was just talking how you could put like a cat's face on a human body and be perfectly fine with it and call it creativity. Do you think that maybe we could make something that kind of looks humanoid, like an alien face, and program that into the simulation? Because I think we can. And I think it's been done on Star Trek. Every fucking episode is a human shaped the fuck something. And it's not that far off of what is capable when people want to press a little bit of creativity into a simulation that could plausibly have a lot of it going on, including any kind of spacecraft alien. By the way, these shapes are all describable. They're star-shaped. They're saucer-shaped. All right. If this was a real entity from a different universe, we would have a fucking name for the shape, okay? We would not, our eyes and our brains would never be able
Wouldn't be able to fathom.
It would be, our minds would be blown, all right? We would all stare at that new dimensional, we would all stare at it and take a fucking stroke, because if a can of Pepsi could kill us, then seeing something so fucked up could also send everyone into a tidal wave of holy shit, all on the ground sort of thing, Tony. Sparky's got something there in the big board. Flip it around, Sparky.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait for this one.
It says, how did Helen Keller burn her hand? She tried reading the waffle iron.
Like this.
So that's why I like simulation theories, because it kind of does answer all the questions of saying that none of this is real in any way, shape, or form. Our DNA has kind of like a computer coding to it, and the time travelers that are coming back are just an extra software variant added in by the true programmer, who will never be known. We could never know the shape of that person. We could never know the face of that thing. They have made us up out of the same thin air as somebody putting a cat's face on a human body did one day in a cave. And that form of creativity is just a mimicked reflection, or a reflection of the creator of a simulation in all possibilities. Jet fighters, stealth bombers, they all have the same kind of bird-like shape, right? Birds are told to be evolved dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are lizards. Lizards are reptilians. Reptilians are the ones that blended their DNA with our human DNA, and they said, hey, if we get together and start this shit going, right? We are going to, and I'll let you, we're going to travel the universe. So we took the bait, okay? Us as curious.
By the way, 1 of 4 prospected alien.
1 of 4.
1 of 4. There we go.
So when you apply nuclear war to a cockroach or to a reptile, right? Reptiles, all they do is swell up a little bit, right? And, you know, the alligators made it through nuclear wars and all that nice shit. There are lizards living in Crimea right now, okay? They're perfectly fine. They can adapt to the situation. If you blend cold-blooded and warm-blooded animals, reptilian and humanoid, right? Pop those two suckers together, add a little bit of nuclear power, nanoparticle aluminum on top of the whole fucking thing. I bet, Tony, in theory, you got what these alien motherfuckers look like anyways. And we took the goddamn bait, and these time travelers are coming back to say, hey, don't fuck any reptile fuckers, okay? They're gonna trick you. It's like, what are you talking about?
They're coming to get you.
They gave us airplanes. They gave us all this technology so far. Why would, whoa, wait a second. Why is your head so big? Because we all fucked the lizards. We all started fucking one day. And that's what they're trying to, you know, get us away from. There have been obvious photoshops of the, the little green slit in the eye thing with the reptilian idea. I
can't wait until one of them actually, not to say even slips up so much, that they appear on Sparky's board.
I can't wait until we say something and we don't know which one is the truth of it, and it gets taken down, and they're like, because you know what you said. It's like, no, man, we threw out a lot of shit.
Well, there's a lot of shit right there. I mean, a lot of information.
Could you kind of tell us which one we were right about?
Are we talking about the 162 declassified files that the government just came out with about UAVs?
I bet there's really 168, you know, like.
Oh, 100, yeah. 162 declassified files. Sparky, spin that shit around.
Spin it around. It says, hi, young Kevin. I am old Kevin from the future. You will marry a Jennifer Lopez impersonator. Taco, taco, burrito, burrito.
It's you warning yourself about yourself.
Wow. What What a way to time. I would probably time travel that way. But you know what?
Yeah.
I do get kind of distracted too. So I'd be like, all right, I gotta wait a second. Shit. I think I know what the power.
I don't know. Is right now the best time of your miserable life?
So if I were to time, if you, Tony, this is what would happen. If you were to time travel, right? You would eventually say to yourself, wait a second, I'm a whole new person in this future. And poor me, Tony, that Tony, he ain't never going to find out this for a while. So why don't I just win the Powerball, live a life of luxury? And why would I warn myself? I ain't going to believe it anyway. So I'll just be rich here, you know? So that could already be happening. There are a lot of twins out there, man. There are a lot of people that kind of look the same, but one is extremely poor and has a shitty fucking looking thing going on, and one is extremely rich. Don't forget about
a lot of people would like to think that even with Noah in the ark, and him and his family being on the ark, and not necessarily having everyone come on to his family, means that there is an incestual startup for a brand new world.
Don't forget the half brothers that never get talked about in Hollywood, Nick Nolte and Gary Busey. You know,
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
The
never-ending, the never dying. What else is his name from The Matrix? Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, the one. I like how the Escaping the Matrix, the movie, right? So the movie The Matrix, right? And the third one, the whole overlap to the idea is that they find a way to escape and beat the robots.
Oh, yeah.
But by the way, Tony, that is also a part of the simulation.
Yeah.
That they have to feel. They know that there's the architect telling Neo that there will always be a human resistance. Let's us, the audience, have to figure, even if it's years later, you have to figure it out years later, right? Where you're like,
be the change.
Wait a second.
That's what they're trying to say. Be the change.
No, Tony, they're trying to say that no matter what you do, when you do escape the Matrix, that's still the Matrix. You are still you're still in it. You're still in the dream. You have woke. There are so many safeguards to this shit that there is. Alex Jones has brought up on InfoWorlds that there is levels to different dimensions, okay, that you can surpass and feel like you're in heaven, but then
I think that would be the day I'd learn about information from Alex Jones.
Alex Jones has been wrong one major time. About Sandy Hook.
Alien lizard people.
The interdimensional vampire rapists are coming for your white kids, and they're putting them on an island, and you know.
Flip that shit around, Sparky. What do you got next? No? All right.
It says Kevin is Dr. Doom and his variations. Oh my god.
Yeah, you are the variant, Kevin.
The variant.
Now, the U.S. government, which never does anything effectively, has released 162 declassified files about UAVs, drones, UAPs, all different types of unidentified flying objects in general. And the initial batch of records was published by the Pentagon in May with a rolling release schedule intended to make more files public. Now, the 2026 release date includes total records, which include 162 files, which consist of 120 PDFs, 28 videos, and 14 images. The time span is the documents cover incidents dating from 1948 to modern encounters, including footage of orbs and unexplainable aircraft, as well as transcripts and photos from the Apollo space missions. The files originated from the Department of Defense, NASA, the FBI, and the State Department as well, from all across the globe.
Well, the U.S. government a year ago had registered the domain name aliens.gov. Aliens.gov. Now,
aliens.gov.
I
Yep.
know what you're thinking. Wow, what a weird immigration policy. Name.
Well, Kevin, so we did talk about one particular thing, and what was the whole theme of today's show?
Aliens.
Frequency.
Frequency.
Mm-hmm. So if you happen to go to UFO files, even from Wikipedia, mm-hmm. they talk about all the UFO files and the UAP files that were declassified as well. And one of them is actually an Air Force frequency graph of UFO reports in general.
Well, this is the 2.9 to 3.0 gigahertz anomaly. In UFO lore, the most frequency cited radio frequency comes from a 1952 radar incident involving a pulsating signal. The signal, alleged to oscillate between 2995 and 3000 megahertz, paired with a repeating beat frequency of 600 hertz. The catch: these frequencies overlap with standard aviation and weather radar bands, and there is no conclusive scientific evidence that these are extraterrestrial in nature. Scientific CETA frequencies, astronomers and scientists searching for interstellar communications do not use a UFO frequency. Instead, they tune to natural universal frequencies where the cosmos is quietest. Okay, so lack of frequency is still counted as a frequency. Because if frequencies did not exist to that, you would not be able to find the holes from it and see if you can find an origin to it. The water hole, 1.42 gigahertz to 1.72 gigahertz. This band sits between the radio emission frequency of hydration, 1.42 gigahertz, and hydroxyl, 1.61 and 1.72 gigahertz. Because water is essential to life, scientists consider this magic frequency an ideal spot for an alien civilization to broadcast a beacon. Now, Tony, if there's one thing that we know, frequencies are created by not electricity, but wave patterns. Okay,
wavelength, light, energy.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So the difference of frequency in a room with light. They've tried the double slit experiment with a frequency in this, and you can control light with frequency under a controlled area. Now, if you maximize that,
not only can they control light, they can freeze light as well.
That is correct. Yeah.
So because they've already done that in an experiment where they've frozen light to pinpoint accuracy.
So we are worried about point A to point B on how fast light enters and how whatever the hell. But what we should be worried about is the frequency of light. And not does it have a sound, but what sound does it make? Even if you can't hear it with your human ears, it has to make a sound, because sound or frequency has to come, what we call frequency. And by the way, frequency might actually be what real anti-gravity is.
Now, I've seen everything that, and not necessarily that every particular invention that has come out. What has the United States government done to those particular inventions?
Well, normally they seize them and shelf them.
And weaponize them.
They'll try, you can make a weapon just about at anything, And
they've seen in Argentina, one of those particular weapons that were made, especially for sound, that was theorized to be used, we're going to put it in air quotes because they're never going to come out and be like, look, we use sound technology to supposedly make the enemy implode from inside out.
Well, the thing of another idea is that there are no aliens, right? There never will be an alien or whatever, right?
Sure.
And we will all be subliminally hypnotized by the government to have what you call a controlled shared illusion. All right. Project Bluebeam, if you've heard of it.
Bluebeam, okay? Perfect.
So the idea is that the emergency broadcast system, since we're instead of going through analog, they're going through digital, right? Everything's digital. So digital frequency would work better in a way to hypnotize everyone, right, into thinking that there is an emergency and to go outside enough to the point where when you look up in the sky and you see the aliens coming, the movie Don't Look Up touched on that very, very briefly, right?
Sure.
That when you see the aliens in the sky, it is actually not there, but the government wants to see if their technology of not only hypnotizing people through frequency of emergency digital services work, they want to see if it is convincing enough where the aliens come out and they, say they speak a language that you can only hear in your head. Well, they're not saying a fucking thing, right? What you're doing is you are already hypnotized. You are already at that locked in frequency. So these fuckers, they'll get into your goddamn head, right? And they'll tell you what, and everyone's going to hear the same message. So that way there's 100% buy-in. And when there's 100% buy-in of something,
there's no resistance.
When there's 100% buy-in of something, the powers that be in every government or shadow government or whatever are playing fuck around time. And that's what Project Bluebeam, it's, leaked file out there. That's what Project Bluebeam was all about.
Sure.
There
are hundreds, if not thousands, of documented materials throughout years and years of history that have talked about different projects, different science experiments, different things that have only been theorized in the minds and machinations of scientists abroad.
Here's a little bit better of an explanation. Now this is just AI overview from Google real quick after typing in Project Bluebeam. It says Project Bluebeam is a fringe conspiracy theory proposing that a secretive global elite is using advanced technology to stage a simulated alien invasion and faked religious events. The ultimate goal, according to the theory, is to manipulate humanity into accepting a totalitarian new world order and unified global religion. The theory was developed in the 1990s by Canadian investigative journalist Sergei Monast and generally outlines a 4-step process. Step 1. Engineered earthquake, faked localized earthquake intended to uncover new archaeological discoveries that discredit the foundation tenets of major religions. Step 2, the space show, massive 3D holographic projections in the sky. People around the world allegedly see their respective religious figures, such as Jesus, Muhammad, or Buddha, merging into one Antichrist figure or witnessing an extraterrestrial invasion. Step 3, telepathic electronic communication, the use of low frequency and very low frequency waves to beam targeted thoughts and messages directly into the minds of individuals. Step 4, supernatural manifestations, a combination of technological and psychological manipulation, creating the illusion of a physical contact with extraterrestrials or divine beings, forcing nations to surrender their sovereignty to a global government. Skeptics, scientists, and historians widely dismiss Project Bluebeam as a classic internet conspiracy theory. The concept also resurfaced on social media whenever unusual drone sightings, rocket launches, or unexplained atmospherical phenomena occur in the night sky. You can read more about that on blah, 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 and who the fuck cares. But what do we say now? Step 3, I'm going to read that one back. Telepathic electronic communication, the use of low frequency, by the way, low frequency, you cannot hear that, or very low frequency waves to beam targeted thoughts and messages directly into the minds of individuals. And that
it's a
is
real thing. It is a very real thing.
That is a real thing. I ain't just making shit up. People look at me sometimes. They're like, Kevin's just talking and saying fucking words.
I find it funny that the emergency broadcasting system, the EBS, what's the number one thing that it does before it announces an emergency?
It has a startup tune.
Yep. Isn't that crazy how it has a long ringing effect?
Yeah.
That you either need to turn down the radio for, or you're so like gripped up on the handle when you hear it.
I think by the time you hear it, Tony, it's already too late. I think that's
far too late.
I think that's something already played before time, and by the time you're hearing it, you should already know you're fucked. Okay. Everything that you hear from that point, everything that you think that you hear, you think that you know, should be considered a lie inside your head. You should be heightened and aware 100% of what's going on. The only problem is we're only human and we have very limited control over when you are being controlled. Sparky!
True facts.
That big board, flip it around.
Sparky's going to take us out, by the way. He's going to take us out because we are... By the way, this is going to be the end of our show.
We got some hypnotism going on.
We're far in.
It says the Podguyz Podcast is the best podcast on Mondays at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, Sparky, where's the lie in that?
I think the key is to put your nose on the screen right now.
Put your face next to the screen.
But all of this information is free-handedly out in the open. Check it out. Like I said, these 162 classified programs, videos, information, like all of this stuff about teleportation and ESP and forecasting. There's got to be something to it if it's out there.
Yep. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And where there's fire, there's a forest fire. Where there's a forest fire, they say light. When they say light, we're seeing it for a reason. We're only being shown what can be manipulated to the masses. Okay. So that's why we're being shown what we're being shown. True. And that's a part of Project Blue Beam. And it's eventually you're going to be in a line and you don't know why you're buying something, but they say that it's a part of what the aliens want you to buy. And you're like, wait a second, I'm sowing a seed in Israel. What the fuck? What is this about? Am I doing carsforkids.com? Carsforkids.com scandal was about giving Israeli children money.
Let's wrap up the show anyway.
Do the thing. Yeah. Do the thing, Tony.
Sparky, where can you beam us into your lovely living room and or car?
You can find us on every single major streaming platform, including iHeart, Spotify, Spreaker, Deezer, Castbox, Pocket Cast, GeoReel, Facebook Live Video, Google, Amazon, and anywhere else there's live streaming programming going on at.
That's true. See, we're all streaming, we're all programming, we're all information electronics are in the air. They're everywhere. Information is everywhere. Guys, we are the Podguyz Podcast, bringing it to you every Monday as we do. Have a great night. I'm Tony Kaz.
Kevin Neary here.
Of course. The ever-loving Picasso.
Ray Sparkay.
There he is. There he is. All right, guys. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.